So we've had a lot of good Stephen King adaptations over the years, but we've also had a lot of bad ones. Yeah, they're really hit or miss because you never know what the director's going to do and how it's all going to shake out. There isn't really like a set success rate. Like when you hear that a Stephen King adaptation is coming out there, you're never thinking like, oh, it's definitely going to be great, or oh, it's definitely going to be terrible, because we've seen plenty of examples of both. Today I want to talk about some Stephen King adaptations that I would personally like to see. Some of the ones on this list have been done before, but I think they should be redone. Oh, I should probably go get the book. Don't worry, I'll film while I'm over there. Look, books. Here are my Stephen King books. Oh, there you are. There he is. Someone stole volume 1 of Soul Eater. Most booktubers have to have the books in the background so that you know proof that they read. I don't have that, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. The first adaptation on my list is Later by Stephen King. While I was reading this, I was like, man, I would love to see a movie, because it kind of felt like a movie while I was reading it. You know, you ever read a book that it's like really thrilling and it kind of feels like a film, or you can kind of like see how it's shot? Yeah, this is one of those books. This is the best book to read on a plane or like a train. Who takes trains? If you're on a train or a bus, or if you commute to work, or if you got a long plane ride coming up, this is a really good, solid choice, honestly, for travel, I'd say. Because the chapters are like super short and the font is really big, like if you could see. And the chapters are only like a couple pages, maybe one page. I mean, it's fun. It's just a great ride. It is a bit of a ghost story, so I'm not really into ghost stories that much, but like this one really won me over. So the premise of this book is like, what if you had, remember that kid from The Sixth Sense? It's like, what if the kid from The Sixth Sense helped solve crimes? Which is kind of awesome. I won't go too much into that because I'll just let your imagination wander. There are a couple other things I could say about it, but I don't want to be too spoilery. If you're looking for a good read and you're not looking for like a huge commitment, this is definitely a good pick. The length, the subject matter, and just the overall way the story is told, I think would make it a really solid pick for TV. Because it's not, it's not very long. It's like super short. It's like 250 something pages. Could easily fit that into a movie. And it's a quick story, and it's fun. It's thrilling for sure. And it's got like the spookiness a little bit that people like. I could definitely see this being a theater release. Number 2 on my list, I don't have it because I think I gave it away, but the Langoliers. We've already gotten an adaptation for the Langoliers, but I believe it was a miniseries. It might have been a movie. I just remember I started it and I was so bored that I turned it off because I've already read the book and I love the book, but the adaptation was so boring. My God. Sorry if you liked it, but I just thought it was so boring and horribly filmed. Oh, it was terrible, which is such a shame because while I was reading the book, there are scenes where I'm like, man, I know how, if I were the director, I know how I'd film this. There's like a scene where there's a little girl who's blind, and she's one of the main characters, and she's like kind of like feeling her way through the plane. Through her point of view, you start to see, for lack of a better term, that everybody around her is like disappeared, right? Because the premise of the book is that there's like people in a plane, and while they're up in the air, like not everybody, but like most of the plane, including the pilot, just like disappears. They get like isekai'd like immediately. It leaves behind like a small group of people. I think there's like 10, maybe less than 10 of them. And they're like, oh, what do we do? And we have to figure out how to land the plane. And when they land the plane, they figure out that they're actually in like a different dimension. And it's crazy. It's good. I don't want to give too much away, but I hit the mic. And I would love to see that as a movie. I don't think it probably wouldn't do well as a theater release. So I could see it more as like a Netflix film. Or like a streaming only film. I could see that. I just don't think that's going to put butts in the seats, like maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Stephen King's name is on it, so maybe it could, but I think it would make for like a really good Netflix movie. It won't come out. Okay. I got it. Okay. Jeez. That was really crammed in there. Number 3 on my list is Two Talented Bastids. That's the first story in this guy, and it is absolutely amazing. It's a short story, so it's like I think it was only like 100 pages, maybe 80, something like that. But it was super short. So it's about 2 guys who are very successful in their fields. One of them's a writer, one of them's a painter. The story starts when they're much older. One of them passes away, and then there's a reporter sniffing around the other guy's family, and she's saying, she's asking like kind of questions. She's not being too nosy, but she's asking kind of questions like, you came from the middle of nowhere, then all of a sudden your careers took off, you know, and she seems to imply that there was like this weird, mysterious hunting trip that they went on. And after that hunting trip, that's kind of when their careers took off. So she's implying that something kind of strange or sketchy happened on that hunting trip, and she's trying to like figure out more. And it really makes you want to know, the reader want to know, like the first half is really like, oh, what happened on that hunting trip? You know, what's going on? Like, and Stephen King's just great at it. It's just the answer to it was also satisfying to me. So I wasn't, sometimes when you build something up, it might not be, the payoff isn't always as great as like the buildup. The fourth story on my list that I think should be adapted is The Answer Man, which is also in If You Like It Darker, You Like It Darker. I said the name wrong. Stephen King started writing this about 45 years ago. He didn't have an ending for it, so he just like put it in a drawer and forgot about it. And then, 45 years go by, and I believe it was his nephew found it and was like, hey, this is pretty good. You should maybe finish this. And so he looked at it, and now that he was older and now that so much time has passed, he was like, hey, I actually think I have an ending for this. And so then he wrote the ending, which is pretty cool. And then he put it in this little guy, and we got to read it. It's about this guy who, he's like driving down a highway, and it's like kind of secluded, and there's this dude in my head, it's like a lemonade stand looking thing, and the stand says Answer Man on it. It's pretty self-explanatory. You go and you sit down, and I think you pay a certain amount of money, and there's like a timer. You ask him any kind of question, and he gives you the answer for it. As you could probably guess, these are questions that no one should know the answer to, but yet this person does. This guy has an interaction with the Answer Man 3 times in his life, but they're like decades apart. Pretty cool. Highly recommend that story. You know what? Just pick up this book and go read all of them, because they're all good. So the fifth adaptation on my list that I would like to see is The Long Walk. This was the first book that got me into Stephen King, but it's also kind of the first book that got me into reading in general. I had read like several books before then, but like years and years ago, I picked up The Long Walk and I just could not put it down. Somehow that got me like addicted to reading. And until then, I was maybe averaging like one book every year and a half. And like after that, I was averaging at least a book every month. It's just for some reason, it just really clicked for me. I don't know what it was. I just had to know what happened next. It's kind of Hunger Games-ish. It's about a group of kids. It takes place in an alternate America. He does this a lot. It's an alternate version of America, and in this version there's this competition called The Long Walk. I believe it's like teenagers can enter it, and I even forget what the prize was. I just remember they walk till they die, and there's these really scary military guys that follow them on jeeps with shotguns that like kill them if they stop walking. It's insane. I believe it's like a martial law kind of world where like the government is only ruled by the military, which is kind of interesting. The movie's supposed to star Mark Hamill, so I'm interested. I don't really see him as one of the guys with shotguns in the Jeep, so I'm wondering who he's going to play. To me, that probably tells me that they're going to go a little bit more into the world, maybe explain it just a little bit. I hope they don't over-explain it and make it like too much of a plot point, because Stephen King not explaining too much of the world actually kind of added to it. Like him kind of scaling back and actually not telling us as much or not giving us a whole lot of information on the world, I think actually helped it. Yeah, David Johnson's in it too. He's been in a lot lately, David Johnson. Judy Greer is in it, and then Cooper Hoffman. And I think Cooper Hoffman is the Licorice Pizza guy, I think. Francis Lawrence is directing. He's the guy that did the Hunger Games movies, or he did most of the Hunger Games movies. I don't think he did the first one, but I think he did the ones after that. Oh, I got a text. There are some Stephen King adaptations in the works. Like I said, The Long Walk was one of them. Mike Flanagan's making Life of Chuck. And then I just heard this recently, but The Monkey is in the works now, which is a short story from the Skeleton Crew, I believe. I heard they're making a show about the Institute, why? I have the Institute. It was okay. It was I don't know why. I don't think you need to make a show out of it. Then I also heard they're doing another Salem's Lot, which I would like to see. Flanagan keeps saying that he's going to do the Dark Tower, so we'll see. In case you don't know, I'm a huge Flan. I'm a Flanagan flan. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a flan again. I'm a huge fan of Flanagan's work. Midnight Mass is the greatest thing I've ever seen. If you haven't seen Midnight Mass, go watch it. It's so good. I've just started House of Usher, so I don't know how that is, but I've heard it's really good. I'm pretty excited to see his version of The Dark Tower, but part of me is like, it doesn't feel real, you know, because part of me is like, man, we've waited so long for a Dark Tower adaptation. Not the movie. The movie doesn't count. Yeah, I'm really interested to see his approach, and I think it's not slated to like 2026 or something like that, but man, I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. And also, Stephen King last month tweeted this. Should we be excited? Should I be excited about that? Or is he just messing around? You know, maybe he's just saying stuff because they're talking about him for the, you know, pre-production of the show, perhaps. Do you think he would actually write some more in the world of the Dark Tower? Because that would be crazy if he wrote some more. I mean, it's all the world of the Dark Tower, you could argue. That would be kind of nuts to see him make another mid-world book. That would be insane. I don't want to hope for it. I don't want to get my hopes up. So what do you guys think? Were there what adaptations would you guys like to see? And were there any that I left out? Do you agree with my list? Do you not agree with my list? That's all I got for you today. Let me know in the comments. See you later.
Espresso, but it's triple shot. I don't sweeten it. Y'all getting slept on cause you sleeping in. Oh God, aside from me, I don't believe in shit. I'm done fucking, but she telling me to leave it in. Lot of blessings piling up that I ain't even wished for. None left over for y'all. I'm locking the fridge door at the crib, cutting hits.